Flirting with Talia was supposed to stay digital, safe, distant, unreal, until Nairobi rent collapsed the distance between us and turned wanting her into something I could no longer avoid. What happens when your online crush unexpectedly moves in? My name is Claire, and this is a story of digital attraction that became shared space. Should I protect the fantasy or risk making it real? Part 1. The problem begins with a text that should have stayed theoretical. I'm standing outside Yaya shopping center, rain threatening but undecided, when my phone vibrates. It was a text message. Hey beautiful. Do you still live in Kilimani? Her name is on the screen above it. The same name I've whispered into voice notes at 1 in the morning. The same profile photo I've memorized from 3 different angles. The woman I'd only ever allowed to be a voice, a thought, a maybe. I reread the message twice and slowly type back my response. Yes, I still live in Kilimani. Why? 3 dots appear. Then they're gone. Then back again. Because I think, she says, I might be your new roommate. I laugh. Out loud. A sharp, startled sound that earns me a look from a nearby boda boda guy. No, Nairobi doesn't do coincidences like this. Nairobi does traffic. Nairobi does missed exits. It does not align your online crushes with your lease. Funny, I reply. What are the odds? The dots linger. Hi, she says. I'm at the address the agent sent me, but none of the gates are marked, and I'm not convinced this is the right place. My stomach drops. Don't guess, I type back. I'm heading home. Stay put. The ride back is chaos. Rain finally falls, traffic crawls, my phone heavy in my hand the entire way. When I reach my building, she is nowhere in sight. I let myself in automatically, muscle memory taking over. Inside, the apartment is exactly how I left it. I kick off my shoes. Drop my bag by the door. Pull on an oversized hoodie without thinking. Then I call her. She answers immediately, slightly breathless. From her description, 3 identical gates, a hesitant guard, a street that refuses to label itself, I realize she must be standing a couple of blocks away. Which house number are you looking for? I ask her. She tells me. It's mine. I give her clearer directions this time. The color of the gate, the mango tree that leans too far over the wall, the shortcut past the kiosk. Just come through, I say. I'm home. I'll show you the place, no need to wait for the agent. I hang up. I barely have time to register the coincidence before. There's a knock. Soft. Polite. The kind that doesn't assume familiarity. I take a second too long. Check my reflection in the hallway mirror. My braids are in a messy bun. Tied with intention but no follow-through. This is not how I meet people I've flirted with for 3 months in curated lighting. All the same, I open the door. She's here. That's the first, disorienting truth. She's sharper, prettier, and real. Taller than I imagined. Quieter. Her smile doesn't arrive all at once, it builds, like she's gauging whether this moment is safe. Hi, she says. Her voice lands differently outside of a phone speaker. Warmer. Hi. I manage, then immediately regret not saying more. Or less. Or anything else. We stare at each other for a beat too long. Oddly, we never ran out of words online. In person, the silence is loud. So, she says, lifting the single backpack slung over her shoulder. This is awkward. I laugh again, softer this time. Yeah, just a bit. I hesitate, then step aside. Dear God, where are my manners? Come on in. I say. She crosses the threshold carefully, like she's not sure she's allowed to occupy the space yet. My arm brushes hers by accident, or maybe not. And my body reacts before my brain catches up. Heat. Awareness. She looks around. The couch. The half-dead plant by the window. My shoes by the door. This is cuter than I imagined, she says. It totally is, I reply without thinking, absently staring at her. She turns to me, eyebrow raised, amused. Sorry, I add quickly. The apartment. I meant the apartment. Her smile curves, slow and knowing. Online, she would have leaned into that moment. Dropped a teasing line. Sent a wink emoji. Instead, she just nods. Files it away. We stand there, two women suspended. So, she says eventually, shifting her weight. I should probably explain why I'm here. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. Please. The agent sent me photos of the place this morning, she says. Said the current tenant would be around in the evening if I wanted to see it in person. She pauses. Studies my face. I did not know it was you. Good. I say, too quickly. Because I didn't know it was you either. Something eases between us. So, you're actually looking to move in? I ask. She nods. Yes. Been looking for a place for a while. I still have to sort a few things before making the move though. My gaze is on her. Hey, I hesitate. Do you want a quick look around? Or is that too much? She studies my face, like she's checking if I'm feeling pressured. A quick look would be good, she finally says. Just for context. I give her the tour in fragments. The living room. The kitchen with the stubborn drawer. The hallway where the light flickers if you don't hit the switch just right. She listens keenly. It's nice, she says finally. Quiet. Lived in. High praise. I say. She smiles at that. We drift back to the living room. From there, it's logistics. Rent figures. Dates that are still soft around the edges. All the safe things. The things you talk about when you're trying very hard not to acknowledge that the woman you've been flirting with for 3 months is now close enough. Enough that you notice how she smells. Like rain and citrus. At one point, she crouches to unzip her backpack, and I notice a small scar on her wrist. Pale. Old. Not a story I know. She catches me looking. Doesn't comment. By evening, the rain falls. We end up eating takeaway on the floor, food cartons between us, the TV on low. Background noise neither of us is really following. So, she says, pulling her knees in. This is not how I pictured today. I didn't picture meeting you at all, I admit. You were kind of theoretical. She laughs softly. You too. A beat. Online, your images. I assumed angles were doing most of the work. And now? She holds my gaze. And now I'm trying to pretend I'm not distracted by you in 3D. My heart does something deeply unhelpful. There it is. The spark. Still alive. Even more dangerous. Later, she stands, slipping her jacket back on. I'm going to stay with a friend tonight, she says. Just until things are sorted out. Yeah, I say. That makes sense. At the door, there's a pause. Not awkward. Just full. Thank you, she says. For not making this weird. I chuckle. I think we both failed at that. I say gently. There's that disarming smile again. Then she's gone. The apartment feels wrong in its quiet. About an hour later, my phone lights up. It's her, good night. She says. Today was interesting. I stare at the screen longer than necessary. Then I type back. It sure was. Good night. I don't add anything else. I should. I don't. Because somewhere between the DMs and the almost roommate conversation, the fantasy has shifted into something riskier. Something slow. Something that hasn't moved in yet, but is clearly unpacking. She moves in 3 days later. When she arrives, it's midday. She has 2 suitcases, a plant she keeps apologizing for, and the faint look of someone still unsure about the move. The guard nods at her this time. Knows her name now. That does something to me. We stand in the living room while she sets her bags down, suddenly shy again. So, she says. This is happening. Looks like it, I say. We don't hug. We don't high-five. We just share a look that says, well, here we are. The unpacking happens slowly. Respectfully. Like we're learning the edges of each other. She asks before using shelf space. I tell her the drawer that sticks. She claims the right-hand wardrobe without ceremony. By evening, her things are everywhere in small, non-invasive ways. Shoes by the door. A charger plugged into the wall. Her plant on the windowsill, already leaning toward the light. Nothing dramatic has changed. Yet everything has. That night, from my room, I listened to unfamiliar sounds settle into the apartment. A zipper. A drawer. Soft footsteps. A life adjusting itself around mine. I tell myself this is fine. Practical. And fall asleep knowing she is only a wall away. Part 2. The first thing I learn is that she wakes up before her alarm. Our third morning happens to be a Saturday. I surface to the sound of the kettle, low flame, patient heat. The kind of sound meant not to wake anyone. When I finally step into the kitchen, she's leaning against the counter, mug in hand. Hair loose. Oversized t-shirt slipping off one shoulder. "Morning," she says, like this is ordinary. "Morning." Our fingers almost touch as I reach for my mug. She pours me tea without asking. No sugar. It's brewed properly, my way, even though she prefers coffee. I remember mentioning my tea preferences once, in passing. We drink in silence, listening to the city waking itself, matatus coughing themselves alive, a horn arguing with nothing in particular. "You're quieter in the mornings," she says. "You're observant." She shrugs. Perks of proximity. The word lands too carefully. Proximity. As if this isn't doing something to both of us. Later that afternoon, I'm in my room when my phone lights up. "Did I throw you off your routine this morning?" she asks. I stare at the screen, the wall between us suddenly irrelevant. "No, I don't really have a routine." I text back. 3 dots. Then she says, "You do. You just don't notice it until someone else does." My chest tightens. She's 3 meters away. But somehow this, texting, feels braver from behind a door. After that, our days begin to overlap without permission. My laundry ends up in her basket. Her spices quietly claim space in my cupboard. She hums when she cooks. Low, distracted. Like she's not performing it for anyone. One evening, I come home soaked, shoes squelching, rain clinging to me like an accusation. She looks up from the couch, takes one look at me, and laughs. "Wow," she says. "Nairobi really chose violence on you tonight. You're enjoying this." "A little," she admits. We look at each other then, just long enough for the air to change. For something unspoken to rise, unmistakable and suddenly fragile. Something sharp pulses there, heat, awareness, the shared decision not to cross the line. I clear my throat, the sound too loud in the small space, mumble my thanks, and step back before either of us can do something braver. I shower. Change. Breathe like I'm not quietly losing ground. When I come back, there's a bowl of soup waiting on the counter. "You didn't have to," I say. "I wanted to." Simple. Intentional. Impossible to misread. We sit side by side. Knees touching deliberately. The TV keeps talking. But I know neither of us is listening. At some point, I laugh a second too late. She tilts her head, just slightly. Catching it. Doesn't comment. Supper is careful after that. Polite. Charged. When I finally retreat to my room, sleep refuses to cooperate. I open Instagram without thinking. She's online. A minute passes. Then my phone vibrates. "Can't sleep?" I don't hesitate. "No." The reply comes so fast it feels like she was waiting. "You never really watch TV, do you?" My breath catches. I turn the phone face down like that might help. It doesn't. She's still only a wall away. And now, so is the thing we keep pretending not to name. In shared spaces, we're careful. We keep a deliberate distance, the kind you choose when you don't trust yourself to stop once you start. I tell myself it's practical. That wanting her openly could complicate the only home we both have right now. That it's easier to manage desire than to risk rejection. In private, the restraint slips. It starts small. A message about the way our eyes held a second too long in the kitchen. A comment about how different my name sounds when she says it out loud. And how much more intentional it feels when she types it. The chat becomes the place where truth leaks out. On the second weekend, a few of my friends come over for lunch. Nothing formal. Just noise, takeaway containers, music low enough to talk over. Talia chooses the seat beside mine even though there's space elsewhere. When the conversation gets loud, she leans in to hear me better, her knee brushing mine under the dining table. It doesn't move away. After lunch is done, we all move to the sitting space. People spread out on couches and others on the carpet. Once again, I end up joining her on the love seat. At one point, she reaches across me for a drink, steadying herself with a light hand on my thigh as she leans. It's casual, almost absent-minded. Still, my body notices. Someone tells a story. Laughter ripples through the room. Her hand lingers a second longer than necessary before she pulls back. When she sits upright again, she's closer than before, like the space between us has quietly renegotiated itself. My friends don't say anything. They don't need to. I swear to myself that this is normal. Casual, even. But my body disagrees. So, Claire, Mike says, glancing between us with that mischievous grin, you two been living together long? Not that long, I answer, trying to keep my voice steady. Talia smiles. Feels longer. Our eyes meet. There's something new there. Familiarity, ease, the dangerous kind. Mike leans back and smirks. You know, I've never seen you let anyone else pick the music while you sit there smiling like that. Except Talia, apparently. Heat blooms low in my stomach. My cheeks burn. Talia laughs softly, a little knowing, and glances at me. That look, quiet, amused, is heavier than anything Mike said. Later, when everyone's gone, she helps me stack cups in the sink. She stands close enough that I can feel the warmth of her through the thin fabric of my shirt. Do you think she starts, push me to be in relationships? Definitely. But I've been hurt one too many times, I guess. She hums softly. Not upset. Thinking. She leans back against the counter. I lean beside her without meaning to. So, why didn't you correct them? She asks. I shake my head. Didn't feel necessary. She studies me. We stand there longer than the moment requires. We exchange no messages that night. Just the echo of what had passed between us and the awareness that something had changed. The next morning, the change continues. We start touching in ways that feel justifiable. A hand on the back as we pass in the hallway. A brief hug that lasts half a second too long. Each time, we pretend it means nothing. But each time, it means more. One evening, I'm on the couch reading. She sits beside me without asking, tucks her feet under herself. After a moment, her shoulder leans into mine. I don't move. She exhales slowly, like she's been holding something in all day. You're warm, she says. Occupational hazard. She smiles, closes her eyes for just a second. Later, when I stand to go to bed, she catches my hand. Not to stop me, just to touch. Her thumb brushes my knuckles, absent-minded, unguarded. Good night, she says. Good night. We let go. Barely. One morning, she steps behind me to reach a cup. Her hand lands briefly at my waist, a steadying touch that has no practical reason to exist. She freezes. I don't pull away. Sorry, she murmurs. It's okay, I say. And mean it. This is worse than flirting. This is intimate. Our chats are almost gone now. The real conversations happen elsewhere, in looks held too long, in pauses that stretch, in the way we stand too close and don't apologize. Earlier that day, I'd mentioned that my virtual work meeting didn't go well. I brushed it off with a joke and a shrug. Said I had to go to the office and sort things. She hadn't said much then. Just listened. Filed it away and left to do some errands. When I came home that evening, keys still in my hand, she didn't say hello first. She just steps forward and hugs me. Not dramatic. Not urgent. Just arms around me, firm and sure, like she's reminding me she's here. That I'm held. I freeze for half a second, then hug her back. She smells like soap and something citrusy I can't name. Clean. Familiar. When we pull apart, her hands stay on my arms. She doesn't step back. You okay? She asks softly. I nod. Yeah. She studies my face, not prying, just checking. Satisfied, she lets go. My heart takes an unreasonable amount of time to settle. That evening at around 9:45, a blackout hits. The apartment drops into sudden quiet. They must be kidding. She groans from her room. Authentic Nairobi experience. I shout back. We find candles. She lights them, face glowing softly, familiar now in ways that matter. We settle on the couch, close enough that I'm aware of her breathing. Not touching. The dark makes it easier not to look at her. Or maybe harder. I can't tell anymore. Hey, Claire. She starts, voice low. I want to say something. She falters. I mean, I keep rehearsing what I should say. She admits quietly. My pulse stutters. And? And every version sounds like I'm asking for something I'm not sure I'm allowed to want. That lands hard. I swallow, my mouth suddenly dry. I keep telling myself that what we have so far, is manageable, I say. She turns toward me. I feel it before I see it. And is that working? She asks. I laugh once, short, brittle. No. The word leaves me before I can soften it. She doesn't rush in. She waits. That's what undoes me. I don't want to lose what we already have, I continue, quieter now. But I'm scared that the second I'm honest, I'll find out you never wanted the same thing. Her breath catches. Just enough. I'm scared of that too, she says. But not as scared as I am of pretending this doesn't matter. Something inside me gives. Not all at once, just enough to tilt. I turn to her. Finally. Her face is open. Nervous. Braver than mine. I don't know to ignore it anymore. I say, my voice barely holding. She looks at my mouth. Back to my eyes. Then don't, she says. That's it. That's the moment my restraint finally gives way. I lean in, not careful now, not negotiating. The last inch disappears on its own. The kiss lands slow, sure, unmistakable. Not rushed. Just right. Like something aligning after being off by a fraction for too long. Her breath catches against my mouth. I feel it. I feel everything. Her hand comes up, warm at my throat, thumb pressing lightly there before her fingers slide into my hair, steadying me, or herself, I can't tell. I don't want to know. I only know I don't want it to stop. I kiss her back with the full weight of what I've been holding in. The wanting. The fear. The relief of not having to pretend anymore. This isn't discovery. This is recognition. This is the quiet, almost unbearable relief of finally being where I've already been in my head for weeks. When the lights snap back on, we pull apart. Breathless. Shaken. Not because we've gone too far. Because we both know we won't be able to go back. Part 3. We pretend, for about 10 minutes, that we know how to be normal again. She rinses a mug at the sink. I sit on the arm of the couch instead of beside her. The room smells faintly of the dinner neither of us finished. We talk about nothing. Work. A neighbor. Something we once laughed about that doesn't quite land this time. Every word feels like a negotiation. I am aware of her body the entire time, not in a hungry way yet, but in a vigilant one. Where she is. How far. Whether she's looking at me when I'm not looking at her. When she turns from the sink, our shoulders brush. It's accidental. Plausible. But neither of us moves away. The silence stretches, not awkward, but charged. Like something waiting to be acknowledged. This is the problem, I think. We're not pretending well anymore. Her phone lights up. She glances at it and smiles. The kind that arrives unguarded. Sorry, she says. It's Maya. The name lands harder than it should. She doesn't explain who Maya is. She doesn't have to. The ease tells me enough. History. Comfort. Someone who knows how to reach her. She excuses herself, stepping aside to answer, still in the room, still close enough that I can hear her voice soften. The call is short. Light. Familiar. When she hangs up, she looks at me as if checking for something. I give her a smile that works just well enough. Of course there's someone else, I think. Why wouldn't there be? The risk sharpens. This is no longer theoretical. She comes back to the couch. Close enough that our knees nearly touch. I don't want this to get weird, she says. What if it already has? I ask. She exhales, slow and deliberate. Looks at her hands. I keep thinking, she says, that if we say the wrong thing, we won't be able to take it back. There it is. The truth, half spoken. I could still retreat. Keep her. Keep the shape of this without naming it. Instead, I say, and if we don't say it? She finally looks at me then. That scares me more, she admits. The wanting is no longer one-sided. But it is still unclaimed. She stands abruptly. I should go, she says, too fast. Like someone outrunning herself. I don't stop her. That's my mistake. The door closes behind her with a soft, final sound. The apartment feels immediately wrong, too quiet, too big. This is what caution gets you, I think. Distance dressed up as safety. I tell myself I did the right thing. Although I don't believe it for a second. The knock comes 15 minutes later. Not loud. Not hesitant either. When I open the door, she's there, hair loose, jacket half-zipped, breathing a little fast like she walked instead of drove. I tried to leave, she says. I couldn't. The air between us shifts. Heavy. Intent. I keep thinking about Maya, I say, before I can stop myself. She blinks. Then, understanding. There isn't a Maya problem, she says gently. There's a me not wanting to lie to you problem. I swallow. And what do you want? She steps closer. Not touching yet. Giving me time to pull away. I want this to stop, being careful, she says. I want to know if you feel what I feel. My voice doesn't shake when I answer. I'm surprised by that. I want you. And I'm scared that wanting you will cost me you. She doesn't joke. Doesn't deflect. It would cost me more to pretend I don't want you to. Because I do. So much, Claire. She says. She reaches for my wrist, slow, asking. I nod. Her thumb brushes my skin. A question answered. The kiss is unhurried. Intentional. Like something chosen, not stolen. I feel the relief before the heat, the relief of no longer guessing. When we pull back, she rests her forehead against mine. Tell me if you want me to stop, she says. I won't, I reply. But thank you for asking. I whisper against her lips. The wanting is no longer a risk we're circling. It's one we're stepping into together. We move without rushing. Without pretending this is casual. There's laughter, soft, nervous, real. There's a moment where she studies my face like she's memorizing it. This changes things, she says quietly. I hope so, I answer. She kisses me again, deeper now, sure, and something in me answers without hesitation. Hands learn where they belong. Breath stutters, then steadies. The space between us disappears in stages. The door closes softly behind us. The night doesn't rush. It gathers. Closeness becomes warmth, the slow, reverent discovery of what it means to be wanted this completely. We move together, sometimes laughing under our breath, sometimes silent in a way that feels sacred. The city fades to a low hum. Time loosens its grip. Words fall away, replaced by touch, by the quiet certainty of being met, again and again, without question. When sleep finally finds us, it does so gently, almost reluctantly. Two bodies tangled, unguarded. Two people resting inside the same choice. Part 4. Morning arrives without ceremony. Light filters through the curtains, too bright, too honest. I wake before she does, acutely aware of her presence beside me, not just her body, but the fact of her. Here. Chosen. Real. For a moment, I let myself stay still and pretend this is uncomplicated. Then my phone vibrates on the table. Reality, checking in. She stirs. Opens her eyes. Looks at me like she's checking the temperature of something new. Hi, she says. Hey, I respond. The word is different now. Softer. Fuller. Her phone lights up again. Maya. This time, she doesn't smile. She lets it ring out. I should probably talk to her, she says eventually. Not apologetic. Honest. Yeah, I say. You should. I don't want to go back to pretending, I say. I don't want to be your secret. But I also don't want us to move faster than we can hold. She nods. Agreed. I take a breath. I just need to learn how to be seen by the world without panicking. She smiles, not indulgent, but understanding. We can learn that, she says. Together. The option is real. That's what makes the choice matter. Later that evening, we go out. Nothing dramatic, friends, drinks, laughter too loud for the space. Maya is there. So is the risk. Maya is warm. Familiar. Effortless in a way that used to intimidate me. She greets her with ease. A hug. A history I don't own. Then, without announcement, she reaches for my hand. Just briefly. Just enough. It's not a declaration. It's not hiding either. Maya notices. Her eyebrows lift, just slightly. Something shifts. Later, when Maya asks, so, is this new? She answers, calmly, yes. Later, lying beside her, I listened to her breathing slow. The wanting hasn't gone away. It sharpened, clarified. But now it has a direction. This isn't fantasy anymore. It's work, risk, joy, fear. It's real. And for the first time, I don't feel like running.
Liked this? Every heartbeat in Africa tells a story. Subscribe to feel it.